I love turnaround stories, but good turnarounds take time, and a lot of people give up about 6 to 18 months in when they realize it's not going to happen immediately. You can see that right now in Starbucks and Nike. I'm getting the sense that many of you believe that neither Elliott Hill nor Brian Niccol is up to the task of saving their companies from the throes of failure. But all that does is make me want to double down for my charitable trust. Let me tell you why. Earlier this week, I met with Brian Niccol from Starbucks, who spoke at Dreamforce with Salesforce's Mark Benioff. When it was announced that Brian, who just turned around Chipotle, would become Starbucks CEO, that stock was in the mid-70s. It instantly jumped to almost 20 points in the news, and over the next 7 months, the stock worked its way to $117 as it became clear that he was the right man for the job. Buyers pushed it up like crazy, and the analysts did nothing to discourage them, which is why it was so painful
House of Pain
that the stock came right back down to $78 before its recent run to 85 and change. I know Brian. He knew that I loved Starbucks, the stores, and that they had gone downhill. He knew I respected his work at Chipotle, where I had always had an open dialogue with him. Brian never encouraged me to be as bullish as the analysts were. He emphasized endlessly that the turn would take time. I don't think he knew things were as broken as they were. That's not unusual. New outside CEOs usually can't see into the organization. They don't recognize the rot. What Brian ultimately found was that the whole Starbucks story was based on having fewer people working and a reliance on technology to do the job. Dumb for any successful fast casual performer. It was a slippery slope that led to a crash. Some analysts now blame the stock's latest downturn on the slowness of the turn itself. I blame the decline on the lack of recognition from the analyst community that Brian wasn't playing UPOD. He wasn't under-promising in order to over-deliver. Starbucks was in no shape to promise anything because the entire organization had just been a wreck. Now, at last, I think Brian has his arms around what's been going wrong. He knows that staffing, not technology, is the answer. He recognizes that not all the stores can be kept open because their layout doesn't allow for a third-place transformation. I see the analysts turning against him, though, largely because they got ahead of themselves. And that tells me it is time to buy Starbucks, not to sell it.
Sell.
Same deal with Nike. The previous CEO took a good company and turned it into an also-ran. He had a strategy, turned Nike into a direct-to-consumer business with the best tech. Again, with the tech, and business will turn around. First, there was no need to turn. The guy inherited a good company. Second, shoes need to be tried on, which makes digital problematic. Hey, by the way, it doesn't help that when Nikes are delivered to your doorstep, they often get stolen. Now that Nike old hand Elliott Hill has come in, he needs to reinvent the entire business. First, he needs to go back to the old brick-and-mortar distribution network, including Foot Locker, which is now part of Dick's. Second, he can't just go into the locker and pick out old Nikes to reintroduce. It means new science and innovation have to be developed, which seems to have been obliterated under the previous regime. Third, he has to fix China, not a quick fix. Oh, and let me just tell you, there's still inventory in the system, and that holds down earnings. But most important, he's got management and the rank and file rowing in the same direction because he was much loved before he left. You spent any time with him as I have, and you know that's the case. This is another stock, though, that's been pulling back as analysts realize that the fast turnaround is impossible. Again, they don't seem to understand that turnarounds do take a lot of time. This is precisely the moment when people want to give up on Starbucks and on Nike, which is why I want to be a buyer, not a seller. Buy of both. I like to say there's always more somewhere. I promise to find it just for you right here on Made Money. I'm Jim Cramer. I'll see you Monday.